Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. That's much better. Good to see everyone. We're so thankful that you have chosen to come and worship with us today. If you're visiting, we want you to know that we don't look at you as a visitor. You're a guest, and we welcome you to our church family. We appreciate you being here today. We're looking for a great move of God today. I hope and pray that you would pray for the one who's going to be giving their testimony and sharing with us. Just a few announcements before we get started with our service. We want to remind everyone to please be sure to look at the bulletin, notice the activities there, the dates and the times and those kind of things to be involved in. Okay? We have two very important, very important announcements this morning. Number one is, if you're interested in the church having a float in the Albertville Christmas Parade, okay, please, right after the service, see Amber. Okay? Now, when I say interested in having a float, I'm talking about willing to help decorate it and do all those kind of things, get it set up, and, not just put a trailer out there and people ride. Okay, we're talking about having a Christmas parade, so be a little tight. Remember this: the more hands, the less time. Okay? So please see Amber right after the service. Okay. And here is the next thing: we have to make a final decision today. All right, about the Reuben Inn ministry. Okay, and here is the big need, all right, and the big question. We have to have 4 people, okay, preferably 4 men, 2 husband and wife teams, each night of the month that we hosted. Okay? Somebody asked me, can you not do it with 2 people? Absolutely not. Not with the numbers that we have. That's not feasible. It's not safe to do that with just 2 people. That's too much responsibility. So, you are interested, and you will commit to stay one of those nights each month. It will be on a Saturday night. Okay? Then I need you to see me after the service. Now this is something that if we commit, it has to be done. Right? If we can't say yes, we're going to do it, and it comes down to a particular month, and the people who said yes will stay, something comes up, and we all know that emergencies do happen, but this has to be a priority if we're going to do it, because I've got to let Ms. Chuck know a definite answer. We've announced this for 2 or 3 weeks. All right? Pray about it. And ever how your feedback from the Lord leads you, then that's what we're going to do as a church. Okay? So please be sure to see me right after the service so that I can put your name down on the list that you are saved. I will commit. All right? And you need to let me know. I can stay 1 night, or I'll stay 2 nights, or I'll stay all of the nights. Okay? But I need to know this afternoon. Okay? After the service, so I can let her know. All right. We're going to recognize some very important people this morning. Okay? People that in my life and in my years of being around the military, that I say is the true heroes of the United States. We look at athletes. We look at millionaires. We look at presidents. We look at a lot of people, and we hang a tag on them as heroes. The real heroes of the United States of America are our veterans. Bar none. Because without men and women who were willing to fight and give the ultimate price in some instances for your and our freedoms, where would we be today? Where would we be? It's such a sombering fact. This morning, my sister-in-law, her dad was in the Army. He ended up being one of Meeks and I school teachers at Gingers. He was a Ginger school teacher, ran music. In the Army, they were running power lines on an Indian reservation out in Oklahoma. Miscommunication, the power got cut on. He lost both of his arms. But I watched him all of my life, because my brother and sister-in-law married when I was 9 years old. I watched Mr. Music sit down on the pier, take his hook off, it was right below the elbow, and he'd put the ski rope right in the bend of his arm. My brother would jerk him off the pier, and he'd ski all over Leesburg, and he'd swing him back around, right up to the bank, step out of the skis, and never miss a beat. I saw him shoot a gun at the turkey shoot at Sardis on Thanksgiving Day and win consistently. Well, what are you talking about, Brother Will? I'm saying this. He could have laid down and quit. And not one time did I ever hear him say, I wish I'd never been in the Army. His words were this. Yes, I lost my arms, but I had a lot of friends that lost their lives. Our veterans, in my opinion, are the greatest heroes that you and I ever met. Amen. David's going to share something for us real quick. Something that she had to do at school, and she's going to share that. And then after that, I want to ask all of our veterans to come down to the front and sit on the front pews, because we got a special treat for you with Miss Lisa. So Miss Kay.
Today, I use my voice not just for me, but for all teens. Thank you to all the ones who have served and had a call of duty and answered it. Through your obedience, we are able to remain in this country with the freedoms we have. The sacrifices you all made is greatly appreciated, not just today, but every day. Teens today strive to gain a good career. For me, I choose to do the same as you. I will lay my sacrifices down and fight the same as y'all. Saying this, the influences y'all have greatly affects not just the United States, but all of us. Leaving family behind to undergo multiple risks of your life is not just something everybody can do. We appreciate everything you had to go through for our country. The impact made is greatly admired. Today we will remember the fallen soldiers, we remember retired soldiers, and those who are still fighting. Nevertheless, remember the ones who will fight.
All of our veterans, you come down to the front, you sit on this side and this side. Okay. All of our veterans. Me and y'all stand up, just turn around and face the congregation. Union Grove Church family says thank you for your service. We appreciate it, and also the service of those from our church family that are serving today. We thank you from all our hearts. Love each other. Let's give them another hand. All right, we're going to turn the service over to Brother Mark, and thank you very, very much.
Everybody stand if you would. Be touched. the guilt and shame. Then the hand of Jesus touched me, and now I am no longer the same. He touched me, oh, He touched me, and oh, the joy that flooded my soul. Something happened, and now I know He touched me and made me whole. Since I met this blessed Savior, since He cleansed and made me whole, I'll never cease to praise Him. I'll shout it while eternity rolls. He touched me, oh, He touched me, and all the joy that floods my soul. Something happened, and now I know He touched me and made me whole. You love the Lord this morning, say amen.
Amen.
Well, let's be seated.
Amen.
Be seated. I believe in a hill called Mount Calvary. Turn on blue. I believe in a hill called Mount Calvary. I believe whatever the cost, and when time has surrendered and earth is no more, I'll still cling to that old rugged And I believe that Christ who was slain on that cross has the power to change lives today. Oh, He changed me Amen. Everybody remain standing. I want to be ready to meet you. You may have your worldly pleasure, your silver and your gold. You may have all the riches that this old world can hold. But I'd rather have my Savior and with Him firmly stand. For I want to be ready to meet Him in glory land. I want to be ready to meet Him by and by. Ushers come forward at the end. Brother Ken Wade, if you would take the Lord in prayer. Let me take this time to invite you to join the praise team. We're just about 4 new mics, so we've got plenty. We'd love to have you.
Jennifer, you okay holding the mic, or would you rather have a wireless? You can hold it, okay? I'm excited today of the testimony that you're about to hear. I've known this young lady all her life. Her dad was my high school football coach. He was my middle brother's high school football coach. And you've heard me say many, many times, there was times during those 4 years of playing football for him that I did not like him very well. But as I got older, I realized what he was trying to do. He was trying to teach a lot of us young boys how life was going to be and how to become a young man. And I look back over those years, and I told him many, many times how much I appreciated what he did for each of us. But I want you to pray this morning. I know that you have already been praying, as we have said and mentioned this. But before Jennifer comes, I want you to hear one thing. If you're here today and you feel like that you're in a hopeless situation, or you feel like that maybe you're so far down in the valley, or that your situation is so bad that it can never change, I beg you to do one thing, and that's listen to the words that God has laid on her heart. It is truly a testimony of God's grace and God's mercy. And it's very evident God never gives up on us. Amen. Amen. So I want you to give Jennifer Sims and her daughter, Morgan, a Union Grove welcome. Would you do that? Jennifer, come on, brother.
Can you hear me? Am I talking? Sorry. I profess to be a professional speaker by any means. My testimony is kind of a story of, I came, like he said, I've known him since I was running around probably in diapers, as far as I can remember, they were in my life. And I grew up in a family we always were in church. We were in church. Every time the doors were open, we were in church. I mean, I don't remember a time that when I was growing up that I wasn't in church. My dad and my mom were both firm believers in having us there, and I think was a huge part of my life too. But then I've always been very much of an independent one. My mother would say sometimes, the point that was almost troubling, that she was like, "Can you just listen to me? No, I need to figure it out." And so I, throughout even college, I did a lot of summer missionaries, and then after college, I went overseas for 2 years with the Southern Baptist Mission Board to China. Probably one of the best things I ever did too, because talking about freedom today, that's something that when you're away from somewhere that you don't have it, you learn to appreciate it a lot more. And I wish some more of us would go overseas and just see how lucky we have it here. Maybe change a little bit. But after I got back, I kind of was always, like I said, we were in church all the time. I thought, well, when I got back, I wanted to do things. And Boaz just didn't seem big enough for me. It seemed very small. And I always wanted to do more than what I was supposed to hear. And so when I got back, I decided I was going to live in Orlando. And I thought, well, I'm going to do some things I want to do, and I'm going to see life and see the world and experience it. And what I started doing right away, something I said when I was older too, if I didn't want to go to church, I don't have to go to church because I'm saved and I don't need to go to church to be saved. And that was my mentality, and I still believe that. I mean, but what I've learned from it is that there's a value in a church family that I didn't understand as a young person. I thought, well, I got what some people like to say, your fire protection, I guess. And I was saved, and I didn't need to be in a church body to be that. So I was old enough to make those decisions. My parents, and I was living in Orlando, so I was far enough away that they couldn't also come down there and drag me to church either. So I started to not go to church, and it became very easy to not go to church. One Sunday led to another Sunday, to another Sunday. What then also became easy to do is allow sin into your life. Allow lines to be blurred and things that I would have no longer thought was okay became okay to do. Going places, going to clubs with friends. And I surrounded myself with people who didn't go to church because it made me feel a bit better when you didn't have people that went to church and nobody made you feel like you needed to be at church and they were going to church, and if I wanted to sleep in, I could sleep in, and if I wanted to go do what I wanted to go do, I did. And it became easier and easier to let sin in my life, and it became easier to do things that, like I said, that I know my parents or I knew that even without my parents, I knew were not okay. And I began to justify my life. I began to justify my sin. My sin wasn't any better, what I was doing, I still wasn't as bad as so-and-so. I could point fingers to anybody, and I was good at judging other people because look what they're doing. They're doing a lot worse than me. And like I said, I would justify the fact that drinking is okay because I'm old enough to drink, and if I want to drink, I can drink, and I can go and have parties, and I can do all these things, and I was okay with that because I was old enough, and if I wanted to, I could. And like I said, but what became easy is that it became easier to do other things and go to parties and become things and just be okay with my life and start being with people that I shouldn't be with, be in places I shouldn't be in. I mean, there's many a times I woke up and not know where I was and know what happened the night before. And to me, you think that's not a big deal, but it is. And it's scary. It should have been scary to me then, but it didn't. I was like, yeah, it's just another day. And I just, I should have been worried about that and going places that nobody should have been, and I shouldn't have been, and I sure wouldn't want my child to go into. And I guess in the perspective now, I'm a parent. I wasn't then, but I didn't understand what my parents were feeling. And my parents would reach out to me and, are you at church? And of course, I did tell this white lies every once in a while. I said, yes, and whenever I went to church, I turned on the TV and let the church be on TV, and I would heard a sermon, and I'd walk around my house, and in my eyes, I went to church, and that's all they needed to know. And I would, yes, everything's great, and I'd come home, and I'd go to church on what I used to make fun of, was the seasonal Christians who came in just when it was the holidays, and I'd come in my Sunday best, and I'd look just like everybody else. And then I would also make, judge the church members because they would judge me. I mean, they were judging me for who I am, and nobody can, they're not perfect either. So nobody, it became so easy to just make everything okay. And what I started doing is I was very unhappy. And so what do you do when you're unhappy? You try to find things that make you happy, or if it's things, or if it's jobs. So I decided one day out of the blue, I'm going to move to Texas. I called my parents and said, I'm in Orlando. I said, I'm going to move to Texas. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I met somebody. We're friends. I'm going to go live with them out there. And she's like, you don't even know. And I told my parents, either be a part of it or don't be a part of it. You don't have to be a part of my life. And I mean, my parents loved me, but boy, I was not very nice to my parents. And I don't know how they still love me to this day, but because they have the love of God, they love me no matter what. And I moved to Texas out of the spur of the moment. Had no idea what I was doing, had no job, decided I was just going to go. They'll figure it out, And I continued to surround myself with people. I continued to do things that were unpleasing to God. And I continued to be okay with it because, like I said, when you surround people who do the same thing you, it's all good. And like I said, I could justify anything I did because it wasn't as bad as somebody else. I was always just a little bit better than the person beside me. And I moved in with somebody and started living a life with somebody that was not glorifying to God at all. It wasn't a relationship I needed to be in, but that person made me feel good. And here again was back to I wanted to feel good, and I wanted everything to feel good. And they made me feel good, and we lived, a life. And my parents said this is wrong, and I said, yeah, I understand, but this is my life, and you've lived yours, and I'm living mine. And for about 6 months, I didn't talk to my parents, which I'm going to tell you, that's very funny, because my mother religiously calls me. And she would in that 6 months. I just didn't answer the phone because I got tired of arguing with them. I got tired of hearing the same stuff I heard every day. We're praying for you. We love you. And I told them, I love you too, but I don't want to hear it. If you can't be okay with who I am, this is me, then you don't need to be a part of my life. And my mother said, well, we're not going anywhere. And I said, okay, but I don't have to include you in my life. And I didn't. For 6 months, I did not talk to my parents. And you think that, and just one day out of the blue, I just started talking to them again. And I said, well, you know what? I had decided, me and this person I couldn't have kids, so I was going to adopt a kid, which was the best thing I ever did, too. Because I just wanted to keep filling the gap with whatever I could fill my life with. And not saying that was a mistake, because God gave me a blessing that I didn't know why, but He did. And I continued to live the way I did. I continued not going to church, and then I got this job, and I love it. I work with kids. I've always worked with kids. I work with kids that most people don't want to work with, the trouble kids, the difficult kids, because I guess sometimes I was a little bit of a difficult kid, so I understood them, and I loved it, and I loved what I was doing. But like I said, I shamefully would drink a lot in front of my own child, and I didn't bring my kid to church like my parents brought me to church, because I didn't go to church. I didn't give her that foundation that I was given. I didn't tell her of the love of God. I told her I was a Christian, and I told her that I was saved, but that we didn't go to church. They didn't understand church. They understood that Mommy would drink sometimes and get really stupid and act stupid and didn't know why, and she didn't like it. And she told me several times she didn't like it. But I thought, it's okay. I'm an adult. That's what I think I told her that one time. I'm an adult, and I can do this what adults do. Well, in this job, I love this job I was doing, and something happened. This was when I really think God was just, one thing too. My mother would tell me nonstop, and I don't know how many times would tell me nonstop, I'm praying for you, and I'd always tell my mother, that's okay. And I want to tell you that Brother Whitty even spoke out to me one time, and if somebody spoke out to me and I didn't like what you had to say, what do we do on Facebook that's very famous? We befriend you. I befriended him, and he was one of my friends for all my life, but I didn't like what he had to tell me. He was right. He knew I was living wrong, and he felt out calling me off for that. And I thought, said, you know what? I don't have anything to do with you, because if you didn't like what I did, then I didn't want you to be a part of my life. And I cut a lot of people off in my life if you didn't go my way. I brought on that time, I was working this job, and like I said, I've worked with kids as long as I can remember, and I got falsely accused of something that I had did in a job. And this comes to the road of where I'm coming back to, where God said, you know what, I'm telling you, I ran far and long. For 20 years, I ran away from God. What I learned from him is that no matter how far you run, He doesn't give up. He is persistent, and persistent. And prayer is powerful. I didn't know how powerful it was until the latter years of my life, but it's powerful, because I can tell you that I don't know how I got home many nights. I can tell you that I've done things that I shouldn't have done, and I'm here. I don't know why. I've even questioned that many years after that. Why are all these people dying and they're living life, and here I am, haven't lived a great life, and you keep me alive for whatever reason not? I mean, I've driven under the influence, and I don't know how I got home, and how I didn't hurt somebody else, and how I didn't do damage that I could have done. But I'm here, and I question all the time, why am I here? What purpose is my life, God, that you want me here for? Because I haven't done anything that's, And then when this investigation came around, it rattled my soul. For somebody to ever accuse me to do anything toward a child that wasn't, it flabbergasted me. And, it ended up working out, and I ended up getting it got worked out where they was proving that I didn't do anything wrong. But it tore a hole in my soul. And that was more, that was more proof that, what's the point, I ended up quitting that job, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I ended up just trying to figure out what I was going to do, and this relationship that I was in that wasn't glorifying God, it wasn't from God, it wasn't where I should be. That person just walked out of my life and said, I don't want to be here anymore, and we had my daughter and 2 sons, which I had all 3 of them at the time when that person walked out, and I know they walked out because God had had enough, and I wasn't going to leave because we had 3 kids that we were raising, and I couldn't walk out. But God made sure that He did it on His own, and I was left with 3 kids and no job. I couldn't tell my parents I didn't have a job. I was embarrassed I didn't have a job. I was alone, and I had 3 kids to raise, and I couldn't figure out how I was going to. I had a friend in my job who had told me this job I was at. She'd been there the year before I went, and every day for 1 year, every day at school, she walked up to me, I'm praying for you. I told her several times, I thought that's nice, and probably about it. I told her that there's tons of people in Boaz, Alabama praying too, so you can just join them. And I said, but I thank you, I appreciate it. And she would tell me that on a daily basis, and I thought, golly, she's like I used to say, a pebble in your shoe. You can't get it out, and you just keep walking. She wouldn't leave me alone. And I said, I appreciate you praying. She goes, you're not where you're supposed to be, but God has you on my heart, and I'm praying for you. And I said, well, again, and so when this happened, I lost my job, and I quit. I said, I thought you were praying for me. She said, God's got a plan. You just have to trust it. And I said, well, this is my plan, to be a single mother of 3 kids, no job. I don't know what plan anywhere in the world anybody wants this plan. I don't want this plan. And I still wasn't. And she invited us to church, and I took the kids to church. And the first Sunday I was there, I was like, if I could get out of the church building fast enough, I would have. I felt so uncomfortable. My heart was racing. I think my hands were sweating, and I just wanted to be anywhere but there. And we left, and she kept inviting me back, and I kept coming back. And about 3 months of being in there, they sang the song, I'm no longer a slave to fear. And I just started bawling and crying. I had no idea what. I said, what, I can't come anymore. I told her, I can't come anymore. I can't be here. And this leads into a couple months later, I was depressed. I couldn't pay bills. I couldn't do anything. And one night, I didn't have the 3 kids. They were actually with the person I was with, my ex, I guess you could say. And I decided that I didn't want to do this anymore. This wasn't fun. I didn't like what I felt anymore, and I had written out everything I wanted to do. And my mom called at 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, good grief, where you going? So I answered the phone, because I knew if I didn't answer the phone, she was going to call me back. And she was going to keep calling until I answered the phone, because when I was by myself, she was always worried about me. So I answered the phone, I said, yes, Mother. And she said, well, I don't know what it is, but I was about to go to bed, and I couldn't go to bed until I talked to you. And I said, well, I appreciate that. I said, I love you too, Mom. It's okay. I'm fine. I'll talk to you later. I hung up the phone. I said, I'd already written them a letter too. I'd written out letters. I was ready to just be done with this. And 10 minutes after that, when I was just sitting down and thinking this, because I'm not going to do that, but I was about to be ready. I got a phone call from that girl who prays for me every day. She goes, are you okay? And I said, and then I just started crying. And she said, what's wrong? And I told her. Within 10 minutes, she was at my house. And we prayed. I went to church the next Sunday, and I ended up rededicating my life to God. Because I knew I was here for a reason. Because I could have easily just been done with it and said it was over. And after that, I'm going to tell you what I learned from all of this is that Satan had nothing to do with me when I lived that crappy life. The day I went under that water, it was great. I never had more peace when I came up and were baptized again. But tell you what, the war had just begun. Because what I learned is that he can't take my salvation away from me, but he can keep me from bearing fruit. And he did everything in that year he could to keep me from living a life of God. Look what you did. I mean, it went a daily review that he told me what a mess I was, what a loser I was. Nobody's going to listen to you. And I believed him. I bought into it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And then it came to pass where I was fighting for custody of all 3 kids, and I lost. I did get the boys, and my daughter was mine. There was no Devon's coming with me. But I lost the 2 boys, and I thought, God, what are you doing? I told you I will do what you want me to do, but this is not my plan. And he just kept closing doors. And then one day, my mother didn't tell me, but my dad said, your mom needs you to come home. So I can. The boys are here. Morty's here. He goes, your mom just found out she has breast cancer. So, way late, and I'm like, okay, again, I told you I'm following you, but why are you doing all this stuff? And he just kept closing doors for me to come home. And for me to come home, kind of, I'll be honest, I felt was going backwards in my life instead of forward. And I was scared to go home because I was scared of what people knew about my life and how crappy a life I lived. And I was so scared that people would judge me for what I did. I didn't want to come home, but he kept closing doors. And finally, I told him, you know what, I'll do it. I'll go home. And I told my parents, and then my dad said, I'll be there in a week to help you get your stuff. Well, then 2 days later, my mother says, your dad will be there tomorrow. Tomorrow? And so I think they were fearing that I changed my mind. So they came and got my stuff and said, we're going home. So they brought me home. But in that year, too, I didn't neglect to tell you, there was many times I had no idea. I was working subbing and odd jobs and couldn't pay bills. And I kept praying, God, you're going to have to help me. And I don't tell you how many times I'd go, I can't pay this bill. I'd go to my mailbox. There'd be just enough money for whatever bill I mean. And that happened on a numerous amount of occasions. I was like, the weirdest things, I said weird, but I guess I'm not when you pray, people are praying. But when I came home, like I said, it wasn't any easier. God knew he couldn't get to me anymore because I was working to focus, and so he went to the next best thing. My child, and when my child started getting sick, my child is high functioning autistic. She was struggling. School struggling, she was having seizures after it left her right, and then I got defeated again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And I will tell you, tonight I lay down in my prayer and I prayed, and all of a sudden in my mind, it came to my head, and I had no idea why, and I messaged him, I said, man, I don't know what's going on, but I need help. And then he linked me with somebody else, with Miss Lisa, and it just, prayers are great because I don't know what to do. And then about 6 months ago, I was still struggling, I lay down and I sat down and I said, God, I don't know what you want me to do, or what you want me to do, but whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And if it's to speak, if it's to go, if it's to do it, I'll do it. I don't care. At this point, I just want you, and I'm telling you, on July, I think the 1st of July, Morgan had her last seizure, and she hasn't had one since. I don't have no idea why. The doctors don't know why. We didn't really change a whole lot of medicine. She was struggling at school. She's not struggling at school. And people say, well, it must have been all the medicine. And I said, no, you know what it must have been? God. Because that's the only thing I can say that happened to my child and me. Is that I laid myself and my child down and said, whatever you want us to do, I will do. I don't judge people for what they do, because I went through. I'm not a person that looks at anybody anymore for what. I learned the concept of loving a person and not loving what they do, because people love me, but they didn't love what I do. And I just become that. But that's what we need to be. We need to be open and loving to people. And I still don't have a full-time job. I'm working in a lead position in Iberville. And every time I need a position, I was working at Boaz, and I loved it. Met this great kid out here, Nate. And that door closed, and I was angry at that, because I was angry when he closed that door. I said, I keep doing what you want me to do, and you keep closing doors, and I don't understand what in the world you're doing, but this is not funny anymore. You've got to start opening some doors. But what he kept telling me in the thing was, be patient. Trust me. I will provide. And he has provided, I still can't tell you half the time what I'm going to do tomorrow. I had probably more stuff, more money, more things, more stability when I was living a crappy life than I do now, but I'm in more peace than I've ever been in my life. And every time I think he can't provide, he opens a door and shows me he can.
Amen.
And I'm telling you, if you don't believe in prayer, and you don't believe it works, I can tell you a story after story after story where I've watched it work. I've watched this hand of God just do things that I can't even explain away. And, you know, people tell me all the time, it must be, oh, she must be on good. No. People are praying for my kid or people are praying for me. And because of that, I've watched what it does. I know what it does. It's done it for me. I was at the pit where I was ready to throw in the towel. He said, nope, I'm not done with you yet. And trust me, I will. And every day, he does. You know, I know what it's like. You know, young people, I know what it's like. But I tell you what, there's nothing more powerful than being in his will and trusting him. Because he can do things that you can't imagine. And I'm here to prove that he's the power of prayer, because I to this day can't tell you why. Sometimes why. But he's told me over and over. And I'll open up the Bible and there'll be miraculously something there. You know, a scripture goes along with it. You know, one was, you know, I said, just tell me what you want to do. And he said, not your will, mine. Be patient. Wait. And I had a Bible study I did not long ago, and it was about quilt making. I know there's a lot of quilt makers probably around here. And, you know, we always sit there thinking that, oh my gosh, God, what are you doing? And, you know, I think sometimes he just chuckles at us and goes, I got this. You think I didn't know that was going to happen? I did. I may not want it to happen, but I let it happen. But I have my hand in it. And it's miraculously how he's building my life and making what I've done and putting it into something that's worthy and good. And it's all for the prayers and trusting God. And like I told you, I had no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm not even sure, like, about my leave's about to end up. That tells you the story. My leave's about to end up, and guess what? Just opened up a full-time position in Aberville that I can apply for. That just opened up recently, and because my leave was about to, when I'm working was about to end. I was like, okay, I got a house, I got a kid, I got to take care of this stuff. You got to pay, and this position just opened up, and somebody said, you need to go apply for it. When I went to apply for it, the lady goes, you're really popular, and I went, I don't know what you hear about me. I don't know what you hear about me. I don't know what that means, but she said, I've already had 3 people approach me about you in this job. And I went, you know, and you know, I've applied for several others, they didn't work out, but you know, I just know that God's hand is in it. And I told my mother the other day, I said, I should be probably extremely stressed out. But what God did, you know, I thought 3 years ago today, he turned my life upside down. What I really realized is that he didn't. He was just putting it into place in the way it should be. Because he knew I wasn't going to do it. So he had to take completely my securities away. Because I'm a fixer and a doer, and that's my mama's fault. You know, you want to fix and do everything. You got to fix it. You got to fix it. You got to fix your child. You got to fix this. But what he's going to realize is, you're not a fixer. I am. And I had to let go. And that's very hard for me. But when I finally just said, whatever, and that's what I do every day. God, I think I pray that sometimes. God, whatever you want, let's just do it. Come on. And it never ceases to amaze me what he does. And he's brought great people in my life. He's connected me with great people. You know, Nate and his family have become very special to me. God puts people in my life for a reason. And he, you know, I used to think he couldn't use me, and because of what I've done. But he told me, what I see as a mess is my story that can help somebody else. And that's all I'm trying to do is just to give to him. And whatever I do, I don't even prepare what I'm going to say. I just kind of let him guide me what I'm going to say, because I have no idea. And when I prayed for him to use me 6 months ago, I've already spoke 4 times, and I've spoke many times individually. I've had people approach me, I've heard about your story, can you tell me? And I've got to tell people individually that I never thought I'd get to tell. Now, I will tell you, I have lost things from this. I've lost friends that I used to go do things with. I've had friends tell me that you're too good for us now. No, I'm not too good for you. I just can't do the things I used to do. Because they're stumbling blocks for me, they're stumbling blocks for other people. And I've done enough stumbling for people. And I've probably been a stumbling block for somebody else, and I choose not to do anymore. And that certain things I just can't do. And if you're doing them, what I've learned is that I can't do that anymore. And I can't say I can't be your friend. I just can't do the things you did. And and that's cost me that. But what I learned in the cost that I have is not part of the cost it gave for me. So that's just all I like to share. And I appreciate you allowing me to come here and share with you. And I just want you to know that God, you're never too far gone. I thought I was, and I probably could have been, and I probably could have, but I think that when people pray for you, you're never too gone, and you've never done it too much. Because, I don't tell you every detail, I don't need to go in all the really dark details of my life, because it was bad, but I know that you're never too far away, and you can run. But man, he is persistent. I don't know if y'all ever, I know a bunch of y'all heard that song, Reckless Love. And to me, that is so true, because he will follow he'll leave 99 for that one person, and there's nothing that he can't come over to get to you. And he did. He pursued me, and I ran. I never understood the prodigal son story either until you go through it and go, when you come home and he's just sitting there waiting for you, and your family just waits for you. My mother told me, there's nothing that you could have done that I don't love you for. And that's what I envision, my mother and dad's love is how I envision God's love. They love me no matter what. He loves me no matter what. And he can love each and every one of you. There's nothing you can do that can outreach his love. Thank you.
Her mother, Jeannie Sands, was Mitzi's GA and acting leader at Sardis. Was in the school system with, Marshall County and Boaz, wasn't she?
She worked at Marshall, Boaz, and Africa.
Marshall, Boaz, and Africa, on-time educator. I'm going to ask Brother Mark to come. We're going to have a hymn of invitation. I knew Jennifer's testimony. We never spoke about what she was going to speak about. I think in your mind, she talked about a bad relationship. And many times that we look at alternate lifestyles and we think that that's the answer. But in her situation, she came to a point that she thought her life was hopeless. Did you catch that? She came to the point, my life is hopeless. I hope you caught that. But I also hope that you caught what she said. That God sent somebody on this earth to help rescue her. Now, I take two very important things from that. Number one is this. If you're here today, no matter how bad it is, it's not hopeless. And the second thing I take from that today is a challenge to myself. And I hope that we take this as a challenge individually and collectively as a church. If God sends us to somebody's house late at night, like they did to Jennifer's, will we be obedient and answer the call? Okay? Because here's why. If we don't, if that lady had not been obedient to God that night, she may not be standing here to give her testimony this morning. You see how this thing works is God's got to plan. But we got to be willing to Brother Mark, would you come? The instrumentalists, if they'd come. I'm going to ask everybody to stand together. If you're here today and you find your life in this situation of hopeless despair, trouble, trials, unbearable circumstances, situations, let me tell you the first step to making things right. The first thing is to look to God and say, God, I need help. If you're here today and you're not a Christian, the first thing that you've got to do is say, God, save me. Because after He saves you, He's going to help you. If you're here today and you need a touch, be willing to reach out for Him. Brother Mark.
Listening to Jennifer's testimony, and you've heard me say this many, many times, God's not, He's not going to force you to do anything. Now, things and situations may happen in your life that it gets to the point that you finally decide, hey, I can't get away from that. But God's not going to make you make a change. There may come a time in your life that God makes you wish that you would make a change. But He's not going to make you. He's not going to grab your arm and say, hey, go down there and pray and let these folks pray for you. But I'm going to tell you this. You're never going to get the help. You're never going to get the change until you say, God, only by you. And only through.
Amen.
In my situation change.
Amen.
We'll sing another verse. If you just need prayer, whatever it is you need, I can assure you this. Everybody in this church building loves you. And they will. Just give whatever it is to Jesus Christ. Trust Him. As we sing one other verse, what you got?
All to Jesus I surrender. Humbly and in sweet I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsake us. Take me, Jesus, take me now. I surrender all. to Jesus I surrender all. To Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender humbly at His feet I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsaken, take me, Jesus, take me now. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender. Make me Savior, wholly Thine. Fill me with Thy Holy Spirit. Truly know that Thou art mine. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all.
This is Kelson Stovall. This is Guy and Aria's father. Let me just tell you something. What you just witnessed is nothing short of a miracle.
Amen.
God is good. All the time.
God is good.
Amen. I prayed with him. Others, Matt and Elizabeth, talking to him during Sunday school. We got him the Bible. I got to meet him before the service, and my very thought was this. And I told Kelson just a couple of weeks ago, there was some situations that wasn't good. I went to be with Elizabeth and the girls at a volleyball game. And brother, I'm going to apologize. Because you know what I should have been doing? Instead of just trying to be there to protect them, I should have been reaching out to them. And I apologize for that. I understand. But I shouldn't have been like that either. See, it worked both ways. And I thought to myself, sitting up here, we were talking about inviting people that needed to hear this testimony. And he shows up today. And I'm going to be honest with you. I stood out there and really thought that I need to go and ask him to go. I did. Did I not go there? I asked you. Is everything all right? Do I need to go out there and ask him to look? And look, now I'm talking about myself, okay? If I'd went out there and asked him to leave, and he had missed this divine appointment, you know what? Something happened to him. His blood would have been on my hands.
That's right.
God sent him here for a reason. Amen. And I told him, I said, here's the first step if you want to change, because that's what he wants. He wants change. He wants help. He wants to be able to change. And I said, son, you've got to pray with me and ask Jesus to come into your heart and life. And I never said another word, and he went to praying myself, and he said, Jesus, I want you to be my Lord and Savior. Amen. I said, when you walk out of these doors, it's fixing to be bad.
It's going to hit you hard.
It's going to be hard. Tonight's going to be hard. Tomorrow's going to be hard. And I told him, though, I said, there's a lot of people praying for you. And if you're going to pray for him faithfully, until he gets to the point and he gets the help that he wants and he needs, if you're going to faithfully pray for him every day, I want you to say amen. Amen. I'd say that's a good army behind you, son.
I've had,
God is good. All the time. All the time. God is good. Ain't said enough. Amen. Amen. Remember, Bible study this afternoon, 5:30. Bring something. Everybody just brings enough food for their family, and we just throw it all together. And you may have egg salad sandwich and barbecue, so it doesn't matter. Just bring something to be here at 5:30, okay? All right. Any other word or announcement? Children's choir this afternoon, 4:30. Is that correct? 4:30. Choir practice Wednesday night. Praise team Thursday night. No praise team this week. Oh, every other week. Band Tuesday night. Praise band will be practicing Tuesday night. Choir practice Wednesday night. Okay? All right. Anybody got anything else? I'm going to ask Jennifer and Morgan if they would to stand in tonight and let you give them your love and support and prayers. Also, Kelson is over here. I'm not going to make him stand right there because we'll end up getting a locked-in. I'm serious about what I'm asking you now. I'm going to tell you something. You talk about God whipping you real good. When he came down and I made eye contact with him, God said, let me do the work. Many times we get the horse before the cart and it don't work out real good. Or we try to push the rope. If you ever try to push a rope, it don't work too good. Okay? So go by and see Kelson, let him know you're going to be praying for him, and know that he's got our support, 100% support. Amen. Remember to see me if you're willing to stay for rooming in. Okay, we've got to make a decision today. It's got to be wrapped up. All right. All right. Remember this. Each and every one of us, we love you. Most of all, Jesus loves you too. Amen. Put your arms around somebody.